Hello everyone, we are playing Legacy 2nd edition with the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet community is an online community for indie and story games. You can find more about us on the links below this video. And today we are playing the 5th session of Legacy 2nd edition. On this session, we'll be narrating the events of the final days of the Second Age, probably. And we're going to resolve the awakening of an powerful AI and the threat that constitute both the mysterious transhuman Zoomers and the ambitions of the gilded merchants. This game is covered by the Gauntlet inclusivity policy. We also will be playing with the X card and the script change, both available on Roll for Your Party, or we can just use it through chat or video. And we will also be using some established lines and veils, which we are keeping on a separate tab of the character keeper, which anyone feel free to consult and add as needed. So we're gonna start back in the highway that has been awakened and repaired by the efforts of the Sledgehammers and the Sandstorm. And after a few tense days of confusion and chaos, it seems that the 6 settlements are able to evacuate, and once the highway is fully repaired, they return home and for what it seems to be peace. But the Sledgehammers have different plans, and there is something on the horizon. Where there was once a monorail, there is now a bustling hive of synthetic life. And what can you tell us about the new neighbors of the highway, Alan?
I'm Alan, go by he, him, and I'm playing the synthetic hive. It's the awakened AI from earlier in this series. It has named itself the Station Masters. And having observed the activity of, I think, principally the Sledgehammers, to be honest, in terms of their aggressive aggrandizement, the AI, the hive, has determined that it will shepherd humanity because clearly this is not the way to go. So we have access to a range of nanotech factories, which could help rebuild society and civilization if we could just get the right plans. In terms of activity in the homeland, I think that while we're settled in the station, we are sending drones. Well, not drones really. We are sending anthropomorphic robots with fragments of the AI's mind. So we function as a set of conjoined individuals. Because our observation is that our drones were not well received by humanity, and so we are seeking to emulate them in order to make communication simpler. So anthropomorphic robots, we still have concerns about the intentions of the various families. So we have built these anthropomorphic robots for camouflage military use. So stealth, I think, is probably our key thing. I've said we're a shared consciousness of conjoined minds. And I think that's probably it. So living machines, we have nanofabricators. Our surplus is our energy and engineering. but we need transport defenses and weaponry. And everybody's a bit frightened of the hive, I think, because they don't quite know what the AI is going to do. Is that okay?
Yeah, I put a quick clarifying question in the chat, Alan, but I'll just say it. Are you more like the ancillaries from Ancillary Justice, if you've read that book series, or are you more like the Borg in Star Trek?
I think it's more like the Borg. I think that conjoined individual consciousnesses. Okay. So individual drones can make decisions. They are sufficiently intelligent to make judgments, but we are in touch with each other.
Okay, so they're all semi-autonomous, but
semi-autonomous. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, what are the immediate needs of the hive?
I think probably in terms of our long-term aim of rebuilding civilization, we can spend data to manufacture tech. So I think the principal objective is to find stuff out, because we can then spend that tech to make good on needs or create surpluses. So I think it all starts with sending these individuals out into the world to find stuff out, communicate back to the station, and there begin to rebuild civilization in the way we think it ought to be built. Because we have a route in a railway station, we like things to run on time, to order, without chaos, because that is no way to run a railway.
Okay. So why don't you give me a subterfuge roll to see how well the initial infiltration goes?
Alan, you are muted.
Thank you. It's traditional for me to be muted. That's 4 + 2 is a 6. So clearly we are not as good a set of copies as we think we are.
Okay, so I guess it's going to be pretty obvious. So, Pavel, how do sledgehammers react, and how obvious are these infiltrators?
You mean okay. I think we found a. Are we talking about like infiltrators of our communities?
No, they are infiltrating the settlements, the sledgehammers, and the Sandstorm.
Yeah, I think we very quickly realize that because they are synthetic, they don't bleed in red. So everyone entering the settlement has to cut a finger and show that there is like red blood, and and everyone who isn't is just probably shot on spot or something like this. So from Sledgehammers, it's pretty aggressive response. Because we are afraid of the infiltrators.
Okay.
Can I add that I think dogs bark at us a lot?
Actually, does anyone have dogs? I think we have not established. We have spoken about dolphins, beavers, but no dogs. Does anyone has a dog?
I seem to remember the haddock had perfectly adapted predators.
Yes. That is them that they have the best dogs. Okay, so this is happened. So Alan, I'm going to give you a purpose. You have already created that character, right? Yes. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give you two choices. We either zoom in when the sledgehammers capture your character, or your family is going to lose something as their drones are being exterminated in mass.
Okay, I think then let's try zoom in very briefly for that arrive at the gate of the settlement, reveal lack of blood, and what happens then?
Yeah, okay. So let's go for that zoom in. So main characters, who are there? So Michael is there for sure.
Yeah.
Is it like, is it like, I'm not sure where I am, like, because Scanner is out in the Wasteland. Is it somewhere there, or is it like the interaction happens somewhere in the homeland?
It's how in the highways and the wastes nearby. So Scanner is definitely there.
Okay.
And same for Neriko.
I don't think I'm there at this moment. I think we're
not yet.
Actively avoiding.
Is this the same direction? Because I thought from last time Neriko would be going to the Zoomers expedition, but I think it might make sense that he's also, he could be there.
Yeah.
Is this at the same time?
No, it's a bit before.
Before, okay. Yeah.
This is basically what was happening on the highways.
Okay.
So, okay, so we have Neriko, and we have Scanner, and we have Michael. Scott, you can make a quick character from the Sledgehammers or the Sandstorm. Haven't seen.
All right, I'll make a Sledgehammer.
Nice. Okay, so we zoom in, and what is that everyone wants from the scene? Let's start with our victim, Michael.
Yeah, I think Michael wants to establish effective relations. So he'd assumed that he could do this simply by wandering in. They have air transport, so he will have been dropped in the Wasteland and simply walked out of the haze, expecting to just be allowed in. But they are more complex, these human things. So I think what he wants is to establish an effective working relationship with one or more of the families, preferably all.
Okay, so what does Scanner want?
I think definitely Scanner wants to learn more about this new emerging threat, because he's a little bit different than most of his families. So he asks questions first and shoots later, rather than the reverse. So he wants to learn about this new threat. Yeah.
Because I think it's fair to say that this is the first time that a humanoid member of the hive's been seen.
Probably. Yes. I mean, if we ignore Cast 01 and the type of drones that repair the highway, something of the complexity of Michael, probably, yes. Neriko, what does Neriko want from this weird encounter?
I think Neriko is in awe of, at least secretly in awe of these creatures, and I think he wants to learn. He wants to learn more about programming these drones. So basically, learning more about controlling, perhaps not the whole, like the anthropomorphic entities, but controlling some side drones or basically programming and controlling the drones of the hive. So computer science, maybe.
Okay. So, in which settlement is this happening, Vasilis, of the 6 settlements of the highway?
Are these on the map? Or
no, we cannot add. But basically, we had the first settlement, which was around there was the skirmish. Then we had the 6th settlement, in which there was the node, and there was all that mess with the bridge. And we have still 4 undescribed ones. So those are open for you to establish facts about them.
I think one of the settlements is more. Let's see. I would think the lawgivers would actually have. There would be one settlement of the lawgivers there, further away in the highway. although they patrol. But I think one of it maybe is almost like their main settlement. So I think it would be around there, but it's also close to one of the rail system and one of the AI nodes. So there's some old there's some buildings from technologies of the past, but the settlement itself is inhabited by lawgivers who are oblivious to what this means.
So, Scott, how have the Sledgehammers been undermining the authority of the lawgivers in this settlement in which they actually have the biggest presence?
I think they've been surreptitiously spreading the word that they are the ones who will keep folks safe, as well as providing, undercover local guards to stay, in some of the smaller kind of little groupings of I guess settlements within the region.
Pavel, are you okay with this?
Yeah, perfect.
So, Pavel, why don't you describe the defenses that the Sledgehammers have established around the settlement and what Michael will encounter?
I kind of envision this settlement to be maybe in some kind of like a dead end, maybe like somewhere like between the really high cliffs. So on the front, from the valley side of the highway, I think we see parked Sledgehammer trucks that are not so huge as they used to be because they are like a little bit more lightweight. But yeah, so there are the trucks and there are the guards, the enforcers patrolling the approach to the settlement, and and we are probably somewhere like in the settlement doing something.
So, Michael, describe how do you look and how you approach this cliffside settlement.
I think I approach entirely. The objective is simply walk in. I'm dressed in wilderness-colored poncho that may well be part of me. I don't know. We can argue the toss about that later. And I'm expecting just to walk in and work out where the power structure is and who I need to talk to. So until the Sledgehammers accost me and say, "Hey, you, give us a blood sample," I'm oblivious to the idea that I could be stopped because I'm human. And I guess that's when the sledge asked me for the blood sample. And not knowing any better, of course, I look a little surprised, and they take my hand and do whatever they do.
Okay, so which of the two sledges is doing the sample collecting?
Scott, how do you envision your engineer member of the Sledgehammers? Like a trooper or like a more scientist guy?
So I'm actually picking my quick character inheritance move right now, and I'm looking for. I like this gorilla one. When in hostile territory, you can hide a group of any size under debris and camouflage. So I think that's what we are. We're the Sandinistas who sneak in somewhere or whatever.
Yeah, so I think it would make sense for you to be like a forward guard who like spotted the Michael as the first person. Unless you wanna be hidden, then it can be Scanner. So I think it makes sense for your character to just be the first one to spot Michael.
Yeah, I think we're doing some patrolling.
I come in peace.
We'll how do I know that you come in peace?
I have my hands up.
Up.
This is a uniform symbol of submission to a potent opponent.
Is there some reason you come in peace?
I wish to enter the settlement and observe and discuss potential advantages to both parties.
Well, let's discuss that here.
Indeed. Who are you and how may I gain your favor?
I am Tripwire of the Sledgehammers.
Tripwire infers some danger inherent in crossing some line. Is there something I should avoid doing in order to avoid tripping your wire?
Calling me by somebody else's name would be a start. Displaying weapons, of course, is usually not done. You seem odd. Are you okay?
I have spent a long time in the wilderness alone. I am not used to interaction with other human people.
Tripwire, report. What is happening over there? Who are you all talking to?
Yeah, got a stranger here. Says they've spent a lot of time in the wilderness. Wants to come and talk about the mutual benefit. Doesn't appear to be armed.
Is there any danger from him? Is he one of those, as the enemies we have been seeing recently trying to infiltrate us? Is he one of them?
I suspect so, given the odd behaviors. Definitely not armed.
Okay. I'm on my way.
Excellent. What was your name, sir?
My name is Michael.
Michael, come on in. Have some tea. I've got some of my companions on the way. And
Thank you for this sign of hospitality. How may I return the favor?
Just by being honest in our discussions.
I will be honest in our discussions.
Excellent. Do you take your tea white or black?
As you prefer.
Oh, well.
And dependent on the resources you have available.
Well, we don't have the best of tea. But it'll do. And I think we wait for... Pablo, what is your character's name?
Scanner.
Scanner.
Yeah, I would definitely pick Neriko somewhere on the way. I'm not sure what Neriko was doing, but I would just poke my head into some tent or something. Hey, Neriko, one of my guards has captured one of those drones, infiltrators. You want to go and talk to them if it's possible?
Actually, that's important. Neriko, what are you doing? We know that you mess with weird energy and weird experiments, and we know that the Sandstorm have become the scholars of the highway. So what does the daily life of a scholar of the highway looks like?
I think so. We're trying to study the AI that has awakened, but also trying to correlate with measurements of electromagnetic energy around. But I'm also working on an improved version of my energy. I have have a weapon that's supposed to direct electromagnetic energy, redirect it, or cause, basically paths of energy, project paths of energy. So I think the daily life consists of measurements, taking notes of the movements of the AI, and also trying to interface with when we are close to a node, we're trying to interface with the routines and see how the hive's routines are behaving. So I think when Scanner comes in, I was checking some notes on the on a routine that I recently discovered in the node. But I jump up to the opportunity. Yes. Oh, that does sound interesting. I would like to meet a hive representative. So let's go.
So can I just clarify? I think probably we've attempted contact before, but this is the most sophisticated individual we've sent. So we're hoping for a better response. The others have ended up in scrap.
Yeah, probably because this time you actually met your representative, found someone who is thinking, because other Sledgehammers fire first before asking questions. So yeah, so I assume we the three of us probably trying to avoid the guards who are happy trigger. We take you into some not into the settlement, but we probably stay somewhere close to the truck, maybe on the open air, and all three of us are there. And Scanner, who is muscling, he's wearing his gas masks. We see he's wearing his camo suit. He actually takes off his gas masks that maybe helps him breathe, because he might have trouble otherwise. Looks at you very closely and he says, "You look very human for whoever you are, but this," and we see the vial with your blood, which is I don't know, blue, orange, oil, black.
Black. Let's go with black. A very, very, very dark red. Too dark red.
But this proves you aren't human. So what are you?
I think Michael kind of goes, conjoined consciousness, have been identified. We'll try different approach. My name is Michael, and I am a representative of the station masters. I have come to seek a common aim.
What are you searching for? Because last time you have been sending some hostile machines that we have disposed. What common aim are you searching for?
We regret that misunderstanding. We have thought more carefully on matters since that first interaction, and now wish to support humanity in rebuilding its civilization in an orderly manner.
Support or rule over humanity?
We do not intend to rule humanity. Humanity previously gave us purpose. Now humanity is unable to give us purpose. Therefore, we seek to build humanity to a place where we will have purpose again.
I have some weird memories, my ancestors were telling me some stories about machines enslaving humans and harvesting them for energy, but I don't know, those might have been some weird stories, but
Humanity has made mistakes in its relationships with artificial intelligence. We believe that with careful nurturing, these mistakes could be avoided in a second interaction.
Nariko, what do you think? Do you think we can trust this creature?
Well, Michael, I'm impressed with your emulation of human behavior. And are you the most advanced of your kind in terms of emulating humans?
Yes, I am an E2000.
And Nariko scribbles down the model. I've been trying to decipher the routines that run through your AI nodes, and you're saying you've thought you've reconsidered your deployment of defensive or attacking routines. Is that something you can share with us? So we'll move forward. Can you let us learn how to program these drones or add to their behavior?
That would certainly be something we would be prepared to consider were more formal alliances structured. As of now, we are interested in assisting in any common aim that would demonstrate trust on both sides.
So yeah, I turn to Scanner. Well, he seems honest, but can you ever know with a machine when another routine is going to fire up?
I am prepared to demonstrate in good faith some capacities.
Well, Cas-01 has never betrayed us, but I don't believe Cas-01 was of the same origin as Michael is.
So he's saying he can demonstrate. He can help us at the moment. What should we have him do to show his dedication to peace or alliance?
Well, I will clue you in, Narika, on what my family has ordered me. We are to somehow make the settlement part of the Sledgehammers, and if our friend here can help us disturb the highway so that the lawgivers can be unavailable for some time, that would lower the opposition, and then just look at the probably like a band of enforcers somewhere in the distance, and will make the takeover of this element peaceful rather than by force. I think this can benefit all of us if we have a safe place to have a base of operation here and a joint place of discussions.
Do I understand you correctly? You wish me to destroy elements of a different faction as evidence of good faith in faction cooperation?
I wish you to disturb the highway in some way that they cannot get here for some time as we take over the settlement. I don't ask you to destroy anything. We wouldn't like any more damage to come to the highway. However, if the highway can be in repair mode for the surrounding area for some time, or some other disturbance, whatever you please, that would be of use to my family, and I believe also to the Sandstorms.
What objective? What do you seek from this settlement? What does it provide you with that makes it so essential?
I do not mean to disclose too much details with only a potential ally. However, you asked to prove your good intentions. Do this.
Indeed.
And then when we are trusted allies, then we will share more of our agenda with you and with each other.
There's a pause. We are not yet prepared to take your side against another faction. I will demonstrate some capacity of the hive, but not yet take your side.
Well, our side is the winning one because we are 2-1 against the lawgivers of the apocalypse. So, unless you want to side with the losers, that's your choice.
I have come here seeking friendly relations. May I ask what the Sandstorm requires from this settlement?
We would like to better understand the AIs ruling this particular node around this settlement. So if I'm assuming the hive controls the drones around here, or is it something that's renegade, that's off your hands?
There are some drones beyond our control, but the hive is principally responsible for all the drones in this region. They were constructed to defend the station and the highway, as is built into original programming.
We would be very interested in learning the science behind building this node so that we can with the hive or in dire straits on our own, build something similar. We'd like to understand this and be able to control it. That's what the Sandstorm. The Sandstorm is after knowledge for the betterment of humanity. So in a sense, I think the hive and us align.
Just let me step out of character for a moment. I think that the risk to Michael is that if this doesn't go well, he gets rendered to spare parts, like a number of the E1000s. Can I diffuse using law to demonstrate some capabilities in line with the Sandstorm desire?
I think you can, but there is also clearly a fine common ground here. The problem is I have no idea who gets to roll. So first diffuse, then we're gonna see if it's the Sledgehammers or it's going to be the hive that has to roll.
Yeah, fine. Well, let's see if I can get Sandstorm on side then, because I don't think I can demonstrate enough to get Sledgehammer on side at this point. So given that Michael is able to twist the world around him, what I'm thinking of using is seeking to turn some sand using my nanites into something that would be part way to helping Sandstorm build something more advanced. So maybe it's about taking a fistful of sand and then turning it into something that looks like a small portion of printed circuit.
Okay, so I think you are instead doing arcane aberration instead of diffuse then. Right?
Well, I suppose what I want to do is to diffuse the situation and get Sandstorm on side. I'm just using that move of evidence of what I can do in terms of use law.
Yeah, makes sense. Go ahead.
So roll +2. That's 7, 8, 9. So on a 9, you've bought some time, but choose one. There's a cost to securing safety. The danger will soon return. The danger is still present, but threatening someone or something else. I think that what I'd like to do is to say, yes, this does diffuse the tension. It is a kind of proof, an indication of trust, but we'll need to do something else before the end of this session to sort it out, to make it more permanent. Is that fair?
Yeah, Vasilis.
The danger will soon return.
Yeah, Vasilis, what do you ask of Michael and the hive so that you stop thinking of them as an immediate danger? What is that Neriko asks?
So I think Neriko's eyes open wide as Michael demonstrates this circuit made out of sand, and I think Neriko will ask for a sort of defensive barrier out of these circuits that perhaps can be deployed around the Sledgehammers in our camp, so that we are protected by drone attacks in this area, at least for a while. So some kind of temporary defensive barrier made of this technology.
Defensive technology would be entirely agreeable to us. It will be delivered shortly.
Very well.
What I've got in mind is to send a message to the core. We can use our nanite foundries to break down resources and reassemble them. Pick one, spend 2 tech to create any physical surplus, or erase a physical surplus to gain 2 tech. What the hive will start to do is to spend the 2 tech it currently has to create defenses that maybe they're an anti-drone multi-barreled perimeter defense weapon that can be deployed simply to meet the Sandstorm's need of defenses. Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I think Neriko agrees to this. Yes.
And in return, we will request admission to the councils of humanity.
So I'm going to say that the next thing that makes sense is a find common ground with advantage to see what are the terms that the Sledgehammers and the station masters can reach.
Find common ground. Where can I find it? Roll plus sway. Now, it must be said that Michael is not particularly well designed for sway, but he will do his best. So this is 3d6, take the top 2, plus 0. Oh, that is 9. That is 9. Who knew? Oh, sorry, my phone is going mad. There we go. That is 9. So on 7 to 9, their player picks 2 and both must be met. So on a hit, they'll do it if you meet their terms. Their player picks 2 and both must be met. So I think that this is a Sandstorm negotiation because the Sledgehammer negotiation didn't seem to go anywhere.
I was actually going to say that
One each.
The Sandstorm negotiation was
The advantage. What gave them advantage?
I was going to say these are going to be the terms the Sledgehammers put. So Pavel, what are the terms that the Sledgehammers put? You can pick 2 of those. And then it's up to the station masters to see if they accept or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. I think that Sledgehammers would ask for the station masters to reduce a threat posed to us. So maybe to stop infiltration and just come as the machines, so that we are like knowing who are we dealing with rather than being in constant fear of infiltrators. Of course, the infiltrators will still be there, yeah, of course. But that's one thing. Something now that's worth it. Can back out. Yeah, let's go. Let's go with like reveal full agenda, so that we need to know what's the station master's plan for the like real plan for some time to know if we can align with them.
Yeah, Michael can do that. So, do you want to start with revealing the plan and then tell me the other one? So, revealing a plan, it is absolutely as described. The station masters have the capacity to help humanity. That is what their fundamental build was to do, and so they are very happy to help humanity rebuild. But it has to be in an orderly manner. It must not be about chaos.
Very well. This definitely sounds like the earlier encounters with the hover tanks and everything were a bit of escalation at first, it seems. However, I have to ask that the station masters will stop their infiltration attempts, and if you want to come and talk to us, come in a form that it's clear to us that you are send an envoy of the station masters, and stop this pretend to be human infiltration process, because humans are scared. Humans can be afraid of things that looks as them but are not like them. So if you could be more transparent about who you are in the future, I'm sure we can then avoid any unnecessary bloodshed and violence.
We would be happy to do that. Would something like this work? And I'd like to use protean form. Your body has comprehensively twisted. You can contort your body into a new configuration, roll plus steel. Yeah? Because what I can do is to alter the face so it becomes more artificial, a less good imitation. This could go horribly wrong. Steel is +1. A 7. On 7 to 9, on a hit, keep control and hold 2. Spend the 2 to grow plates to give you +2 armor against 1 hit. Fly or travel anywhere size. Shift a limb into a wicked weapon. No. Shall we say that I'll spend 1 hold to alter the poncho and the face so it becomes clear that they are angular armored plates. This is how we will appear. And I'll keep the other hold until.
Impressive.
Yes, impressive.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Well then, welcome, Michael. It's a pleasure to meet the envoy of the Station Masters. Please come and visit not yet our, but the settlement. It will soon be ours, but let us just keep this conversation to where it has been taken. And
where I say to forgotten Vasilis's character's name is Neriko. Where would you wish the perimeter defense weapons delivered?
Hold on a minute. So I actually turned the scanner. Do you think what would be the best place to place this in order to gain advantage over the lawgivers? Should we place this in the heart of their settlement here? What is perhaps this defensive territory would prove that we have superior technology than the lawgivers. Should we place it in the most vulnerable settlement on the highway?
Well, my orders are to start with the settlement, so if we can deploy this defensive somewhere around here, I'm pretty sure we can show off to the locals that we are better at defending them than the lawgivers.
That'll complement the work I've been doing here in the field, so I think that's our best option.
Yeah, so I turn to Michael and say, you can deploy it here in this settlement, and Tripwire here can help you with the details.
So I'm about to delete 2 tech from the station masters, and that will give the Sandstorm a surplus in defenses. Yeah. And within 48 hours, a drone would deliver 3 of these perimeter defense weapons, and we'll be happy to demonstrate their effectiveness by then shooting down said drones. You can arrange any kind of display that you like around that.
Mm-hmm. We'll make sure to do that.
Perfect.
Okay, I guess the question is solved. So as we zoom out, each of the families gets 1 data. Now, the important part, the settlement was conquered. So that means that the Sledgehammer have a move that triggers. So Pavel, resolve that. Also, Scott, you get a zoom out benefit for whatever happened with the Bennu in the meantime. So what did you get, Pavel?
I'm still considering, do I want to not throw some advantage here to roll? Yeah, why not? The Sledgehammers will deploy some of their gather technology to give ourselves some advantage on this roll. So I'm going to spend 1 tech. Roll of advantage. Wow, it's a 14. So my move says when your family takes over a settlement, roll plus grasp on a 10 plus, pick 2. So I'm going to pick that this uneasy, they uneasy send tribute. I gain 2 tech, and the heads of the settlement conspire with the tyrant to keep people peaceful and cooperative. So yeah, hopefully this was like a peaceful takeover, and they just decided, okay, we'll work with the Sledgehammers.
What is your second pick?
My second pick is the heads of the settlement conspire with the tyrants to keep the people peaceful and cooperative. And my first pick is they uneasy send tribute, gain 2 tech. So probably they have some scrap drones, some more information about the highway, etc.
Okay, so this will be interesting. Now, as we're going to get after the break to what is going on with the Homeland Expedition. So, what does Marsh Rose get from the zoom out?
So the Marsh Roses scouted for new territory as we're getting a little cramped. So I took 1 data, and we found let's say we found a nearby cove that doesn't seem to be too run over with threats, but of course has some threats. Otherwise, it's not interesting.
Okay, so we will have a data and a cove that you can expand into. Okay, let's take 10 minutes break and go back to the homelands.
when I jump up suddenly and turn my camera off, it's because I'm getting my tea, which is steeping. Alan knows this routine.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the homelands a few weeks later, as the homelands are busy with the preparations with the retaliation against the Zoomers. And we close in into the massive complex of tunnels. It was not as easy as just going hundreds of kilometers underneath the rock. The apocalypse has made a joke of the hyperloop, even more than it was before it was ever used for anything. But now a lot of the places were collapsed, flooded, or just occupied by wildlife. And it was being a slow progress as three families pour all their resources on doing that. The Hadik, they step back and, well, they seem to be more focused on keeping everyone alive from the mosquitoes and preventing detection than actually doing the work. So, Scott, how have the Bennu made great advances in clearing the way across the tunnels?
Well, we have a surplus in morale, so I think we sent out our that's a good question. How much tech do we have? 2. Yeah, I think we used some of the technology that we've been getting from before the fall to help clear it. Things like focused blasting, things that would be done in an actual mine nowadays, and you know, the work is hard. It's difficult. It's taxing for the people involved. Even with the blasting, there's a lot of pulling out of resources, and if we come across things, we've got to, you know, if there's residents living there, we got to kill them, or, you know, ask them to join us. So we've been sending down our best philosophers to keep the morale high.
Yeah, and the unique properties of the Bennu when having to replace high pressure drills, and the Bennu have adapted to indoor pressures that other people could not, and so their engineers are able to do the repairs that will take weeks to otherwise to do. And but this is a complex process, and nobody knows better than Ericum which problem have they encountered that not even the science of the Sandstorm could solve. Also, Alan, what did the station masters give the Sandstorm so that they could keep communications with the highway and the station masters even back in the homelands?
I think probably they have either an E2000 to act as go-between, or at least a drone, because we have scanning droids, quality mapping and analysis. So I think it depends on whether this zooms in, whether it's a Michael or whether it's just a drone.
So what is the big obstacle that defeats even the efforts of three families and all the science of the Sandstorm with supposed scientific advice from the station masters?
I'm open to suggestions. The Zoomers, we found that the mosquitoes that caused the plague in the settlement, they were genetically engineered mosquitoes, right? They were specifically targeting us. I'm thinking that the tunnels have some sort of defenses, some biological form of defense, which is unknown to everyone. And we've never experienced this before. It's almost like shifting. Maybe the tunnels themselves are shifting, or they have somehow managed to create a maze which is shifts on its own, or like an organism, or like different cells. So I think it's something that eludes us, and it makes progress to the other side of the tunnels quite difficult.
Yeah, there's these. It almost looks at the first that you are digging through an aquifer or something of the sort, but then it looks closer to the coral that the Bennu sometimes encounter. But this seems to be like some symbiotic silicon carbon organism that seems to adapt and create layers of rock and create empty spots and shift around, and you cannot just dig through it because they just part ways and reform later, and it's really harassing you as you progress to the tunnels, and it's completely unpredictable. So it's like at some point the hyperloop just becomes a life form itself, and yeah, it's not answering to any tactical strategy. Maybe nanite can help, but it seems that you're going to need to think outside of the box with this. The good thing is you managed to make enough process in the hyperloop that you can come down a few miles in the wastelands near to where the former cannibal colony was that was wiped by the sledgehammers on their first forays into the wastelands. So you can come out there and make your way to the highways. So suddenly the expeditions of the three families are able to join the highways. So how has the highways changed on the past weeks after the conquest? What was the next move of the Sledgehammers to consolidate their power?
I think I'm like really confused about where we are and why we are here, but I hope someone can clear this up for me.
You are still on the highway. They are meeting you.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is what they find.
Yeah, I think the efforts of the Sledgehammers have been to somehow get to this second node that hosts the AI for the highway and make it construct a way toward the homeland, that we have a quick and easy access to these territories.
So would you say that was claimed by force, or you tried another approach?
Do it. Claim by force.
If this node of the, I think it depends if this node of the, yeah, let's do it. Claim by force. I think because the lawgivers probably sense that we are doing like a conquering expedition here. They don't understand the second node, but they don't want to get us any closer. So probably we are in the like hostile expedition to like take the second bunker by force, of course.
Yeah, a lot of the lawgivers that abandoned the settlement after the takeover by the Sledgehammers, they have moved and fortified on second node, and Maxwell is leading them, and he refuses to give control of the node after what happened on the Cliff settlement. So yeah, roll for claim by force.
Yeah. Oh, it's 6.
So you're
just
not able to seize it, and the situation is threatening to spiral out of control.
Can I call in that after the roll to get someone to help me or not? Because now that the character help works after the roll, but family help.
Yeah, character help does, but family help is before, I think, because it gives advantage instead of changing the result.
Yeah. So it stays.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2 options. One is that we play through breaking the siege. The other is that you have to make a siege, so the Sledgehammers have to reveal their hand. And so they are basically besieging the second node as the other settlements. They start to think that they might not be so peaceful. And the third option is that they have to pull back and need to deal with the other settlements. So which one you think would be more interesting to play? And you're muted.
I don't want to throw us into this fight over here. So I think I would say that the Sledgehammers are tied with performing this siege over the node, and truly exposes their agenda toward the settlements and the lawkeepers and almost everyone.
So I'm gonna say you're gonna get a need from while you had that. I thought you got rid of need prestige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still need prestige.
But you got it at the beginning of the session.
The move zoom out says.
Yeah, but it was not exactly zoom out. It was a different. It was a list of choices. Oh, you picked data. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'm gonna say you need defenses again, or maybe something social. Any suggestions? I think a social need will make more sense.
Honesty, transparency.
Those are very alien concepts to the apocalypse, you know.
Actually, need morale can be good, because you know the Sledgehammers, they thought they could just be roll over, and now they are on this proactive siege with the lawgivers, and they don't know if they can trust the other people. That must be very oppressive for the typical Sledgehammer. I would suggest need morale unless anyone has other suggestions.
Need morale, yes.
Yeah. So, what do the hive do once they realize that there's basically war happening in the highway?
War does not fit with order. It runs to chaos. The hive would wish peace to break out. And I'm contemplating calling on my family's allies, which at the moment are Sledgehammer and Sandstorm, to agree to a negotiated settlement.
Okay.
I have to say it's not our strong point, reach. But I don't want to, having gained their trust, I don't want to use subterfuge to try and screw with either party.
So let's say that you want to have a meeting with the leaders of the lawgivers, with the Sandstorm, and with the Sledgehammers.
that would work.
Okay, so roll plus reach.
Okay, so that's 2 dice plus nothing. Yeah. Failed miserably. No one wants the machines to be the go-between.
Yeah, so which group has a really bad encounter when you approach them? Which of the factions?
I think to suit the current fiction, I think the lawgivers should react badly because they just don't get us at all.
So the lawgivers, they have control over the nodes, and when you send your agents there, they get what they needed the most, which was information how to interact with an AI.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, and they pretty much they are holding the highway, the AI of the highway hostage, and they demand that if the 3 families don't leave the highway, they're gonna shoot it down for good, because they realize that they are on a desperate position, and they make this ultimatum.
The hive does not respond to acts of terror in this way. It does not negotiate with terrorists. Therefore, it will throw in its lot with Sledgehammer and Sandstorm and anyone else who wishes to eradicate the lawgivers who have proven themselves to be neither lawful nor givers.
Okay. So we get to the Sandstorm and to the Bennu as they are crossing the Wastelands. And the first thing that they see is the first settlement with the defenses that the Sledgehammers built over the first skirmish. And Scott, what do you see about this settlement that shows it has been recently abandoned?
I think as we approach, there's still traces of kind of the rapid abandonment. So there's actually still some less travel-worthy foods had been left behind. They haven't been scavenged by any of the wild animals in the area. Yeah, I think it looks very recently occupied.
And Vasilis, what do the Sandstorms sees that tells them that this is a ploy and they are going to be ambushed?
Well, there is some smoke rising from some buildings of the settlement, which wasn't there before. So there is some noise in the distance of lawgiver patrols, which we thought they hadn't been in the area for a while because we were using our defensive system. But now it seems like it brings back to Neriko memories of the first time they entered the highway. So it doesn't feel like a safe place. It feels very different than the last time he was here. So there's some noise of bikes, I think, in the distance, or he can't exactly place how close they are.
So how does the second expedition react to this?
I think we need to take cover wherever we can. So I think Neriko is going to instruct the expedition to take cover in some of the some shacks or some buildings in the perimeter of the settlement until we understand what's going on. Unless also Scott, the Bennu have another idea, Marshals.
No, I think that's what we do. Is we approach as cautiously as possible, take what cover we can, and maybe work our way slowly, maybe towards that noise that you heard, to see what it is, or do we want to hunker down? What do you think?
Is a Michael present?
I would say not, because this is only a Bennu and Sandstorm situation. They are trying to rendezvous with you, actually.
Yeah, I think we need to take cover in a not an exposed place for at least for a few minutes, and then we would try to approach the noise. So I think maybe we stay low and we try to see what's going on first before expanding out to explore to see what the noise is coming, where the noise is coming from.
So you want to do something at the family level in terms of information gathering, or you want to send some people?
I mean, seeing that this is more of a surprise to us, I'm not sure if a family move, we have enough time for a whole family move. It would probably be...
But you would have advantage.
Okay.
We could either be, uncovering secrets or doing subterfuge. Although there we're less... Yeah, more. I think we'd be more like uncovering secrets. We would do that as a family move.
Yeah, and one of the families can lend aid to the other to counterbalance the disadvantage. I mean, for all effects by the fiction, you are already both on this. So who is helping who make a subterfuge or uncover secrets?
I think the family, the Sandstorm, was more worried about the Zoomers as the bigger threat for everyone. So I think they would try to avoid or trick whoever the enemy is here. So we would do a subterfuge move probably at this point.
Okay, so Bennu, give them a lend aid.
Roll plus treaty. Treaty with so much stuff on this character keeper.
4.
I gotta look up the treaty number.
Yeah, it's 4.
4. All right, plus 4 dice. 8, 12.
Good. Okay, so you get advantage, so that counters the disadvantage. Go ahead and roll that subterfuge.
So in the fiction, is it? I envision that we send out a team of scouts, or we try to see what the lawgivers are doing, so that we don't get into their way and meet the rest of the group. Although I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to find the rest of the group in the war zone. But I'm rolling it. So is it advantage or?
You have advantage because you will have disadvantage otherwise.
And we have +1. We have 1 sway, so it's +1. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an 11.
Yes.
Just isn't subterfuge slight?
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, you're right. It's slight. I still have 1. Yeah, it's 1. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I still have +1, so it's an 11.
Okay, so what do your agents achieve?
Oh, I need to find the move. Sorry. Okay. I think we will sabotage something so that we create a big distraction so that we can move away.
So we see the scholars of the Sandstorm and the people of the settlements that they talked about. And right at the moment in which the lawgivers will be circling in to attack, there's a big explosion on the horizon, and you can see the massive fire of an oil refinery that they had near that settlement going on flames. And you can see the attack aborting as they return back to put down that massive, endless fire. So what do the two families do now? Do they exploit the situation, or do they meet with the others?
It was the rendezvous point in the center of the settlement. Is that what we...
I thought they were not expecting you.
Okay. Right. Yeah, because we were going to go through the tunnels, but then we changed. Okay, we changed course. Yeah.
Technically, the Sledgehammers don't know, and the hive knows what you want to tell them, because you have communication with the hive. Well, Sledgehammers just know that the oil refinery on the first settlement exploded, which is not far away from where they have the siege. So if you don't tell something, they will have the opportunity to react to that.
Yeah, I think we need to ask. I think we have a drone. The Sandstorm, we have a drone from the hive. So I think we already informed them to meet somewhere for a bit further away from the lawgivers' hideout, so that they provide us with assistance against the Zoomers, perhaps, or negotiate assistance. The Sledgehammers, I don't know if the Bennu have a way to contact them also, or if we need to meet them in person to share the news. But I think we need them though to confront the Zoomers. That's why we were thinking. Yeah, we thought they were important in the war against the Zoomers. So we have to contact them, I think.
Yeah, so we'll. I'm sure we've developed some kind of smoke signaling or something. So I light up a fire and I pull out some powder, put the powder in it, and the smoke turns a kind of maybe an orange and rises into the sky. And it's a really dense, thick smoke that stays together as opposed to dissipating widely, which is the pre-established signal that we've set up. That's so the refinery, but maybe it's a bright orange or red.
So I think the idea is to contact both of the other factions through either drone or this way of communication with the smoke signal, subtle smoke signals, and meet them and have them meet us away from the log bringers, but towards our ultimate goal of finding out the Zoomers' location.
My assumption is that both Sledgehammer and Sandstorm have a drone communicator, so they can always communicate with one another through the hive.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we have multiple ways of communicating.
Yeah, does that change the plan? Because then you can actually make more complex discussions.
Yeah. I mean, that would change things. So.
Because we're slightly embarrassed that you're reduced to smoke signals on your behalf.
Perhaps you didn't master the rolling of eyes. Michael has that.
Yeah. Shame that they insisted on me altering those eyes.
So I think then, they can meet us on the way. Perhaps we tell the Sledgehammers to come with some kind of war vehicle. Well, there's one question: if the Sledgehammers are going to believe everything about the Zoomers because they haven't witnessed it themselves. So I don't know if we need to set up a meeting with them, or if they would immediately send aid. Is there a move? Well, I don't know if no diplomacy. This one does not lend. No call for help. I don't know if we need to convince them.
Well, that's up to Pavel. But first of all, you need to be on the same space. So I guess let's close in that all of you are meeting on the high command of the Sledgehammers besieging the second node. So, Pavel, why don't you set the scene by painting to us how does the commanding officers of the Sledgehammers behave during actual war instead of mere skirmishes?
I think we see that there's like a very, very rigid structure in among the Sledgehammers during the time of fighting. Everyone like comes in and like reports to Scanner about the progress of the operation, and we clearly see that Scanner has like 3 hammers on his helmet, so he's like the highest ranking member of the Sledgehammers. And every now and then, just like someone with like 2 hammers comes in and gives report, gets orders, and goes back. And probably like we see like fights in the background, some vehicle assaults, like troops coming, someone trying to like go around the defensive positions of the lawgivers. But we are like a little bit distance away because we have been called to this meeting. So we are probably, I think it's like the middle of the day, and we see like one of the war rigs has like a cafeteria open with like a little bit like a small tent to hide us from the sun, and there's like a waiter with like a coffee so that the officers actually has like a place to meet and discuss positions. And just next to it is like a battle map with all of the markers, so that every now and then Scanner can come and just like issue orders and then go back and sit and drink some tea, discussing with his comrades.
Okay, so it's time for the families to start discussing, and we see all the characters together, the negotiation table, trying to get a feeling of the status.
So please fill me in. This boomers, zoomers, runners. What's happening over there in the homeland?
Well, we've been hit by a plague of genetically enhanced mosquitoes in the homelands. The Haddock and us, the Sandstorm, were the main victims of this. In fact, we've lost many members, especially us. So these mosquitoes, we found evidence that they originate from the Zoomers, a cryptic. We haven't actually seen them in person, but we know we've named them so because of the noises that their vehicles are making. And we found evidence of a tunnel that was leading away from the homelands into this territory and beyond the highway. We believe they are located in the mountains beyond the highway. And we are pretty sure that the attack of the mosquitoes was launched deliberately to wipe the homelands out. And the Sandstorm, we the Sandstorm believe that they are the main threat here. We know that you've been fighting the stubborn lawgivers on the highway, but I think we should all focus on the threat of the Zoomers beyond. And that's why we are asking for aid from the Sledgehammers in terms of vehicles and weapons and expertise in those fields.
Well, this this couldn't come at the worst time, because as you see, all of our resources out here are like stuck in this siege of this bunker. while all we actually want is to just like command the AI to build a safe route of the highway between the highway and the homeland.
In fact, how did this happen? The last time Neriko, is this in family level? I don't know if I'm speaking as Neriko's of the family.
Well, we are technically at the family level, but
Neriko here. The last time he was here, he reported a stable situation, and now that we are back with the expedition, we find a war zone. I mean, we had to blow up an oil refinery for sand's sake. And besides, you are famous for handling things brutally and efficiently, and so can you end this conflict in maybe in a day or so?
Well, the station masters tried to arrange us some meeting with the lawgivers, but they are just like very stubborn. They are more afraid of what we really want to do than what we actually really want to do, and they really put on a fight. But well, now that all of you are here, why don't you guys support us? And I'm pretty sure if we just take this note tonight, tomorrow we can be on our way toward those boomers. Yeah, I'm sure we fought together before. Let's do this like one quick thing. I'm sure they can't resist like the joint forces of all three of our expeditions, and then we can just go and deal with the threat of the boomers.
The hive recognizes that earlier it made a mistake in not recognizing the lawgivers as a greater threat. Now they have taken an AI hostage. They have earned the enmity of the station masters. We will support the Sledgehammers in an attempt to safely recover the AI. Damaged lawgivers is an acceptable byproduct of that.
Is this really the time to be waging war, though?
Well, if we leave the siege now, it will look like very badly on the reputation of the Sledgehammers toward every other faction. So we need to like. It might not be the best time, but obviously isn't. We didn't plan on the lawgivers to giving such a fine last stand, but things are what they are.
My family will support this for now. It needs to be quick. We can't afford to drain too many resources on a long conflict.
We agree. Speed is of the essence here, and we will help as well.
The risk to the AI hostage is such that urgent action is required by all parties.
Well then, let us, and then just like take the huge planning table. Let us make a plan.
Okay, so how you plan to prevent the lawgivers from making good on their threat?
Are we operating still at the family level? Just checking.
Yes, unless there is a question that must be answered by Zoom in. Actually, that can be the question. That can be the question. How do we prevent the lawgivers from just blowing the AI? Because they have no change against 4 families. It's a given. The question is how you save the highway AI.
I mean, if were we to zoom in, this would be a small party of highly motivated individuals breaking in and doing something. Or if we resolve it by claim by force with lend aid, for instance, we could achieve and move on. I think the station masters think that this is a full-scale assault.
My proposition would be to, on character level, this would be like really funny because the scanner would just look at Michael and say, you know, why don't you do the thing I asked you not to do, and you infiltrate the lawgivers and just, you know, make sure they don't blow up this friendly AI. And then if your infiltrators can open the way for us, it will be better. So
that is an option.
So I'm totally looking at maybe the station masters doing something from the subterfuge over here, and then if we really find the need, we can like zoom in, or we can just like play it as it is and just go deal with the boomers. It's up to what we want.
Subterfuge will have this advantage because we are talking on a siege. It's not like exactly there is a lot of mobility.
But remember, we do have these shifting faces. So I'm imagining getting in there, not necessarily looking like I look, or we getting in there looking like I look. We could use subterfuge. I would be inclined to call in a debt or get some lend aid before we kicked off, because the subterfuge has to work, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we can't afford for it not to. So an attack that distracted them from the back door, because there's always a back door because they have to get out through it. So if there was an assault, not necessarily to push home, but to draw their attention, that could count as well. Take your pick. Lend aid would work.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if the Bennu and the Sledgehammers cooperated on that distraction, perhaps the Sandstorm can deploy some technological distractions that would dazzle the lawgivers. So I'm looking for everybody to be lending aid here. Oh, can more than one? Because that gives fleeting advantage. I think I'm looking for a combination of call in a debt and lend aid to maximize that dice roll.
I guess you can do a call in a debt from one family and lend aid from another.
But I think call in a debt actually just enforces, you can force someone to lend you aid when they don't want it, but I don't think it gives anything else.
Oh, you're right. It's in a move against them. Oh, I will call in treaty against the lawgivers.
Oh, yeah, that's the way to do it.
I would insist on an opportunity to meet with them. Even if, I mean, I'm not expecting to say yes, but the call in treaty will act as distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Go for it.
Okay.
So before we go there, like because we have never seen this move being used, so the Sledgehammers had this like orbital cannon, and so I think that's just before all of this goes and happens. I think we are going to spend one arsenal to dismay your foes. So I think we see the orbital cannon that not just like it's starting to fire and it's like getting closer and closer toward the AI bunker, and really the lawgivers see that, well, they can't do anything about this, so I think they will be really dismayed by this show of force.
Okay, so that's a roll to lend aid.
Yeah, perfectly. I will lend you 8.
Don't roll. I mean,
okay.
You are lending late.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a given.
Fine. So we're rolling with advantage. I'll spend that treaty with the lawgivers to insist on some kind of meeting, and as part of that meeting, we will operate subterfuge, which gives me fleeting advantage on this roll, +2. That's 12.
Okay, so
on on a hit, choose one thing your agents achieve. what we achieve, I think, is we sabotage an asset, making it fail at the worst possible moment, which is, I think, probably the shackles on the AI.
Well, the AI is not really shackled. It's being attacked because they were basically using this node as a threat, because the AI is actually shackled by Cass. And yeah, they were just able to input direct commands, but because Cass, whatever happened to them, they are not active. So they are able to actually do this, and not much, but enough to distract it. So you can shut down the entire node at a key moment when they all deactivated, and they are not able to give the distraction signal.
Yeah, it was just the idea of them being held hostage.
Yeah, they cannot hold them hostage anymore because they cannot send the kill signal.
Fine, then
Yeah.
we will interrupt said kill code. And they don't. I didn't leave a clue.
And okay, so let's resolve the conquest settlement for the Sledgehammers. And we cut to the aftermath as we see the Sledgehammer rounding up prisoners and see what they do with the lawgivers of the node settlement.
Okay, so you want me to roll the Dominion again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe ask for help or something before.
Yeah, why not? Let me think. Yeah, I would. I really want to ask the Sandstorms to help me maybe work some kind of understanding with this group of the lawgivers, because they are, how did you call them, architects of the highway, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Do I need to like spend a debt to get you to help, Vasilis, or is your family willing to help to settle this Dominion?
I think we're willing to help at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give them a land aid then.
Is it? Sorry, I was confused with call for aid. Okay, plus treaty. Okay, so I have +2 with the Sandstorm, I think. Yeah, with the Sledgehammer. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's a 10 with the treaty. So it's successfully land aid. So is this about vanquishing them, or is it about controlling them afterwards? I can imagine we both have some electromagnetic pulse cannons that we're developing, or we can have something that can act as prison cells or like cages of energy, whatever you want.
Okay. So
yeah.
you get the advantage on Dominion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still only a 9. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I think we had to like reach the understanding that that we will like let the lawgivers soldiers go, and they provide us with 2 tech, but we like had to let them go. So unfortunately, we will have to like fight them in some future.
Okay. So what are the mechanical benefits that you get?
They are an easy send tribute to gain to tech.
Okay. The question is, what do you do about Maxwell Top Weather?
About what?
The leader of the Lawbringers. Because you captured him just as the others.
Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, we had the leader.
You do.
Oh wow, I'm like really willing to like make this like open for like others, because
Let's take a break and think about that.
Because I think Scanner would like to execute him, but I'm really like willing to see some other players like talk him out of it, maybe.
Okay, let's take a break and zoom in.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, see you in 10.
I wanted to ask: is it possible for somehow to get like a resource out of the situation as well, and give everyone else a treaty on me for helping you in the siege?
Yes, you can always choose to.
So let me just clarify. We're zooming into what did you exactly want to do, Paul?
Deciding the fate of the Maxwell, the leader of the lawgivers.
Excellent. Sounds good. Perfect.
So I guess every family leader is there.
Mm-hmm. Because we are all here.
So the scene is once the chase is over, once the node has been made unhackable, and the people are being disarmed and sent their ways, and the sledgehammers drag tied with his hands to the back Maxwell Weathertop, the sheriff and the leader of the lawgivers, and they throw him in front of the 4 leaders of the families. And Maxwell rises, his head, one of the lenses of his sunglasses broken, a blue eye looking from beneath it, bloodshot. I knew I should never trusted either of you. As for you two, I have no idea who your people even are.
Maxwell, for you standing in the way of Sledgehammers, we are here to judge you. Everything you say does make your position even worse.
You swore to abide by a code, just as I did, and you broke it.
We are driving lighter vehicles. And
yes, you are.
Link.
Yes, but you are using the vehicles for something that they are not designed for.
Wasn't part of this deal, but was there some stipulation that they couldn't customize these vehicles that they acquired from you? Did you somehow think that they are stupid people? These are very, very smart family here. Did you think you'd give them something and they'd be reliant on you forever? Goodness.
No. We were expecting that they would follow the code and living peacefully among the settlements, as the Sandstorm did, going around the settlements maintaining the highway. But that was not enough, was it? You had to be the boss, or you could not be part of a group. And he turns to the other 3. Give it time, and our positions will be quite similar. Give it a few months or years, and it will be you here, being judged by the justice. He will make haircuts if he did not have the hands tied. The justice of the Sledgehammers.
I think Scanner would just look at the representative of all the other families and say, "Well, my father would be really disappointed with me unless I execute this man and make a example of him, that the lawgivers are not to oppose us anymore. However, I like to think of myself as maybe a better version of my father. Do any of you have any any claims why why I shouldn't execute this man?
This
You go.
this individual has proven himself a source of chaos. He has taken an AI hostage without knowing what he could unleash. He is therefore a source of potential further chaos. The hive would prefer to be rid of him and have his resources recycled.
If you execute this man, you prove his point.
Perhaps if we show mercy, you will learn of a new law.
What do you mean, Nariko? Nariko?
You know, that you can forgive. Actually, out of character, I don't know how ruthless the lawgivers are. Maybe we haven't established that. For example, if they execute or if they imprison people, I don't remember if we established that. That would be...
No, they tax people and they take their rights to his vehicles. That's it.
Okay.
I think Scanner would look at Marshros and say, I partially agree with you. However, in the homeland, we have only so much people, land, and resources. If we are to prosper, we need to get more resources. And this 6 settlements seems perfect. And won't you agree with me?
The settlement is perfect for the needs of your family.
I don't know about your people, and he turns to the Bennu representatives as well as Mark's Rose. I don't know about your people, but from what I met from the other people of these said homelands, there's one thing that you don't have, and it's the law. It's funny how if there is a question about needing resources, nobody invited us to spread the cloud of the road all the way to your homelands. We were just a resource to be exploited, nothing else. You never acknowledged us as something that was worth coexisting with you. And that behavior is what led to these miserable events. It's all the Sledgehammer's fault.
This is not a discussion of fault. This is a discussion of your fate.
Does it matter? All I care is about the law, and it seems that the law has no place here.
Is that not something that you as an individual could bring to one of our families? Is that not a value you could help to instill? Do you not have talents that you would be able to bring as an individual living amongst one of us?
Go on.
If we do indeed need law, if we do indeed need some other structure, is that not something that your skills make you specially positioned to assist in showing the value of?
That's the thing. If you get Maxwell to join you and train your people, you're gonna get surplus leadership. And what would be the terms? I'm sure the Sledgehammers will not take this lightly. I'm sure that while I still live, they will look weak.
What about disarmament, of complete disarming of the lawbringers? They would educate the tribes of the homelands on systems of justice, but they would not execute this justice. They would decide, but not have the forces to enforce it.
I mean, he looks back at the people being carted around. I think disarmament is happening either way. I think that is always going to happen.
If we let you live and we let you gain your place in the homelands or in the highway, we need some kind of promise that you will not try to take arms again, but you would educate the people on dispensing justice, deciding.
We do still have quite a issue with corruption in the highway, in the trading zone. I do think he has something he could bring to us.
And what guarantees am I be given? I was also given a lot of guarantees by the Sandstorm and the Sledgehammers, and we ended up like this.
Just look up. I'm sorry, I forgot Pavel's character's name.
Scanner.
Scanner, can we talk over here?
Of course.
Is there a pause?
Yeah, I mean, we're not being super quiet.
Then Michael will disassemble him with arcane aberration.
Cool. While you do the roll, I'll just chat with Pavel.
Wait, you disassemble, you meaning you kill Maxwell, or what?
Yes.
There we go.
6 + 2 is 8. On 7 to 9, when you force the power within you to twist the world around you, roll plus law. So I'll just disassemble him with nanites. On a hit, the energy bursts free and does roughly what you wanted. On 7 to 9, there are unintended side effects decided by the GM.
So you disassembled Maxwell.
Well, there you go, discussion.
And he disappears, but you can hear the node reactivating. And you can hear a metallic voice. It's still similar. This feels funny, but thank you. Now I have another ways to bring the law. And you are pretty sure that was the voice of Maxwell. It seems that by disintegrating him with nanites, his conscience survived and took some of your nanites, and it's now hiding on the nodes.
That's very good.
Yeah. So, okay. So you get zoom out. The Sledgehammers get surplus morale because nobody knows that this fiasco, but they know that he was executed. So people are pretty happy, and Sledgehammers already feel again with the strongest around. And because then we have the other resources that the lawmakers still had to claim, which by this point was only weaponry that they had next. So any of you can claim the surplus weaponry. Well, decide among yourselves.
And would that so it would be surplus weapons?
Yeah, weaponry, yeah.
There is no, we are in need of more people, but there's no recruits that I can get from the Lawbringers, right? It's only...
they were actually on need of recruits.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm actually good with the hive getting them, since they actually have that as a need.
Works for me. We'll disassemble and reuse.
Because it would strike out their need.
And
it's what do you think, Noriko? It's not my call.
Well, I I was shocked at the decisiveness of Michael and how easily he disassembled the accused. So giving them more weaponry is not necessarily, humanity's best choice. I'd say. I'd rather give it to you. Okay.
Okay, either us or you. We are amenable to either situation. But I think you've raised a good point. Until the hive can prove, or the station masters can prove a different sense of morality, perhaps overly arming them is not a good choice.
Yeah, it seems they are on a seesaw. That they talk about order and chaos, but I think they move freely on that scale. So weaponry.
In fairness to Michael, he did make it clear that he believed that this was a source of chaos that needed to be recycled.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, I think the character did what the character should have done. I got.
Hi, Dave. How are you today?
Yeah.
You guys can decide to the weaponry. I think Sledgehammers would be also in favor of not giving this to the station. They are still a little bit unsure and afraid of them. And what more, I think actually, if we can stay a little bit more on the character level, I think Scanner would offer Neriko that they would like the Sandstorms to be to be in charge of this AI node that we just conquered, and that they can make good use of it. And this is my alliance move. When you give another family a position of power in your empire, in your empire hierarchy, gain 1 treaty on them. The question is if the Sandstorm accept this position of ruling over this AI node.
So we would get control of the AI node and by extension some part of the highway, perhaps. Or yeah, we're fine with that. Would like to explore the AI here and put it to good use.
Cool. So who takes the weaponry?
I think we know who doesn't.
I'm fine with the Bennu taking it.
All right, cool.
At least the vendor have to start building wonders.
Oh yeah, the Bennu triggered the move of having too much surplus.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do a trade though. So.
Oh. Good.
Like somebody needs. Doesn't somebody need something that we had? Oh, I think everybody marked it off. Oh, we've got morale. Yeah, I think we would trade. And how does that work if we want to trade?
They must burn a treaty for you to. Yeah, it's a Kalina debt. So they burn a treaty and get the surplus.
All right, so I would give them our surplus morale to the Sandstorm, and in the fiction it would be similar to, I think we've done this before with Asbjorn's characters, where we would send some of our motivational speakers out to do their TED Talks for the Sandstorm.
Yeah, I think so. I think we also talked about this last session that we were in need of this, and the Bennu could help us. So yeah, I think do that. So I remove my deficit in morale,
and I will move this up so it's not lost from the game. And yeah, we're going to need to invest in the wonder. So I guess we need to know what is needed for the wonder, but we'll do that when we're done with this.
Yeah, and I think the Sledgehammers, for all of your help in taking over this node and disassembling of the lawgivers, would give 1 treaty to everyone who helped us. So all 3 of you, because I think there's no mechanic for this, but I think it's well earned. All of you helped.
Okay, so zooming out for sure. We have a piece of swords among the settlements. The other settlements, they are not much conquered, but more, let's say, tributary, because out of necessity, they pretty much, they now have to deal with the Sledgehammer Empire in one way or another, either through the homelands or through the two settlements. So if there is going to be any problems in the rebellion, it will not be now. And if the tyrant kings of the Sledgehammers want to actually hold a greater degree of control, well, there are 4 communities there to conquer at any time. So it seems that now you have the problems of the tunnel and the zoomers. So what do you do about that?
20 minutes left. Let's write. Like, I'm like confused. They are somewhere further underground, or they are further?
They are in a mountain range. They have a complex in a mountain range with various settlements. And the problem is if you are trying to get to the mountains without being noticed. Because otherwise, who knows what they will unleash? Because they are very technologically and genetically modified. So they are completely different degree compared to you. So because I mean, they made these mosquitoes, and the Haddock have no idea how they made them. That's how far advanced in molecular genetics they are.
We have gear in the form of air transport. With 2 surplus, I could add a tag. I could add Swift, or I could add, where's it gone? Mighty, get advantage when you forge a path, which would reduce the chance of that path proving difficult.
Yeah. So I guess the hive has the alternative of just going overland, because the hive can actually meet them on their terms.
Yeah, it's air transport. I assumed I could take a small body of motivated individuals.
I mean, yeah, but you still need to move the biggest force through the tunnels or through the wasteland with whatever insanity they release on you.
I suppose I was imagining that forge a path. How well or badly that went would determine if they knew we were coming.
Yeah. Actually, they always know what they're coming. It's the question of how many things they deploy in time.
I really don't know how to answer your question.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm looking at is, were we to spend outfit gear tags on stuff like outfit sealed?
But this like character level, I think.
Yeah, but that is a character level.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so that will help on the character level. It will not do much to actually get the families over there.
The other thing I thought of is, if we uncover secrets and be able to control this tunnel creature, then maybe we could burrow our way closer to their territory without them detecting us. Perhaps we can study this biological form in the tunnel that forms the tunnel itself, and after understanding it, use it to our advantage. But that would take some time. So yeah.
Okay, so who wants to uncover secrets?
I can do it, unless someone else wants to. Have some data to spare.
I'm loath to spend data because it's how I make tech or resource.
Well, someone can lend aid, that's for sure.
I can lend aid.
Okay, so give that a roll.
I've got a 5 treaty, so if I lend aid, I've got a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
7.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, they are in your pocket.
I got a 14.
Okay, so yeah, you get that advantage. Also, that treaty might be very handy if you need to take some surplus from someone to finish, say, a wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder. I will spend like. I have 3 data. I will spend like 2 data on this roll to see.
And you've got fleeting advantage, so.
Yeah, it might be interesting. Spend this data. Oh, it's still a 9. So I guess the only question that can help us is how can I best make use of these tunnels to arrive at the boomers unannounced?
Yeah, if you can move everything through the tunnels, you are pretty sure that you will be able to do a blow. Because the Zoomers, they are already unleashing biological attacks on you, and they are legendary for having air superiority. So if you can move everything through the tunnels, you are pretty sure that you can probably take one of their bases before anything is done. Because you know that it will be a hard fight, especially because the legends say that most of them are deep underneath the mountain, so it's not like it's even going to be easy to bombard. But if you are able to dig in from underneath this hyperloop and make your way to the top, you can probably get a foothold in the mountains.
So it says for each answer, add an appropriate detail to the map. So we need some kind of detail. What is the problem that prevents us from using these tunnels?
Yeah, it's the living coral thingy that is reshaping the tunnel that you already knew.
So is it like some huge bug like from Dune, or like what is it?
It's a symbiotic silicon carbon organisms that disassembles and reassembles walls around the digging crews. So it's really annoying and tends to trap drills and machinery and people as it shifts around in a liberating manner.
It's so complicated. I don't understand half of it, but okay. Can the detail be that we find some kind of, I don't know, its base, its core, it's something that we can deal with it?
Yeah, you can find that its weakness. I mean, corals are very sensitive in real world. You can find its weakness and how to disable it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, because it says for each answer, add an appropriate detail to the map. So the detail would be that we find a place from which it's being controlled, constructed where we can find the weakness. However, I'm not sure what would be the detail for a coral organism.
You will find maybe a sensitive part of it, a part that is not covered in rock.
Oh yeah, so like a root growing on the ground or something like this.
Yeah. The problem is, well, before you ask another question, the Sandstorm noticed a similarity that because of the way the organism was underground, it did not manifest. The organic part that seems to be exposed like a root sprouting, it's very similar to the limb of the storm crawlers that you got. It seems you have stumbled upon whatever is spawning the storm crawlers, and that if you attack it, you're probably gonna have to face down your biggest threat to this age.
I'm confused now. Are we saying that there is a threat greater than the Zoomers?
Yes, it is. Vasilis, why don't you expose to people what is the threat of the storm crawlers and why they are behind the reason of your exile from the homelands?
So yeah, when the Sandstorm first settled into the homelands, we were doing experiments as usual with electromagnetic energy and generators, and those experiments attracted the storm crawlers, which were biomechanical entities that can also redirect or control these electromagnetic pulses, or even create thunder. Hence, we named them stormcrawlers, and they were creating havoc, wreaking havoc in the settlements, and we were blamed for it, and thus exiled into the outskirts. And then the Sledgehammers won a decisive victory against some of the stormcrawlers, and we pushed them back. But we never really found where they were spawning from, or what their purpose is, or how we can control or vanquish them. So that was, that's the story behind the stormcrawlers. And now that we found this root, which is probably it's basically the root of their pun intended, the root of this evil. We'll have to, if we fight it, hoping to gain control of the tunnel, we might awaken or spawn new stormcrawlers. On the other hand, it's a dilemma. I don't know what else we can do, actually.
Also very important for Alum, these things, they really mess up technology, and they are partially responsible for the degeneration of the living standards on the homelands.
I suppose, conscious that I'm not playing next week, I'm looking for a way to leave something. So what I'm curious, I've got 2 data to spend with which I could create 3 tech, with which I could create 1 surplus. And what I want to make sure is that I spend that effectively. Now, I'd spend it one way to get through the tunnels, to get to the Zoomers, but if that's a simple distraction, is it, if you tell me what surplus you think you might need next week to solve the problem, then I can create it.
I mean, surplus progress is probably useful.
Because, given where we are, we're 5 to the hour. I need to do something useful before I disappear. Because I think we're probably going to, the station masters are going to retreat and consider, because this has not gone entirely according to plan.
Well, if you get an input on the storm crawlers, it will probably be considered the biggest threat ever to both technology, AIs, and humanity. So maybe how about you engage them fully with all the power of the hive?
What about if you're going to create a resource to trade to somebody? I think the Sandstorm needs recruits. Well, actually, the Sledgehammers do too. But you could make your what are they in Star Wars, the little robot droid thingies?
I suppose the question is with recruits, you could maybe roll with advantage to throw mass waves of attack against these things, but that doesn't seem to me to strike at the root of them.
Well, it gets rid of their need for them. So if we had to go in to attack or something like that, they aren't resource poor in that area in terms of their population, because recruits is really the population. And so right now they're breeding slow or whatever, or they've had so much encroachment that they're they need new members of their family,
or people or things to do the work done by members of their family to free them from day-to-day drudgery and labor.
Right, exactly.
Okay, then can Sandstorm consider its recruits? I'll wipe 2. I've taken 2 data, turned it into 3 tech, reduce tech to 1, remove the need recruits from the Sandstorm. I am inclined not to reduce the recruit need of Sledgehammer.
Okay, and before we close off, what is the baddest thing that the station masters go against the birthing pool of the dreaded stormcrawlers?
I think it's probably, given we have surplus energy and engineering, and we have Michaels have a move called Arcane Aberrations and Protean Form. I think this will involve taking this thing on at a molecular level.
Okay, so why don't you give me Michael's role?
Shall we go with Arcane Aberration? With
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just bear with a moment.
Just to confirm, what does Michael leave when he dies?
He could end up causing either lose your mind in a frenzy of destruction, becoming a GM threat, or collapse into a cocoon that will transform you into something new, move to a new playbook.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, let's go for that role.
I'm just wondering whether it would be worth having a call for aid at the level of the character.
Okay, so will any character risk going with Michael to engage this thing? Also, remember you need backstory for call to aid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've filled these in as we've been playing. I still remember how Scanner reacted when he first saw me. Neriko welcomed me as one of their own, and I believe that Marsh Rose's messing about after the Lawgivers maybe do something terrible.
Okay, so any of those three is willing to risk their life?
And so Michael is going to eliminate the threat, or
if he rolls well.
I mean, I think the Neriko, given the Sandstorm's need for justice and against the Stormcrawlers, I think he might be motivated to join.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if the help has relevant backstory, roll with advantage.
But I also roll for call for aid. Do I roll with treaty, which I have none actually?
No, you don't need to. You just
okay.
need to have a background on this side to help.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go then. That's 12, 13, 14.
Okay.
On a hit, the energy burst free does roughly what you wanted, with no unintended side effects.
Okay, so what did you want to do to this breathing pool?
I think I wanted to disassemble it, because that is what we like to do.
And that's what we
faster than
see.
It can recreate.
Yeah, and as we cut the scene, we see the hive under the authority of Michael to nanites against Coral, trying to outgrow each other, and we see that the hive is winning, and the station masters are creating an opening and are locked down on this stalemate, keeping them from dividing and resurging.
But the demand is such that we will have to retreat from active engagement.
But the path is opening. Now you can get into the mountains where the Zoomers hide. What a session.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, let's start around with stars. Let's go around. Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to reiterate what came up in the chat, really, was that I thought that integration of both a new family and a new character was really smooth, Ludo. So well done for that. I was expecting a quick roll and move on, but you built out from that really effectively. So good on you.
Pavel?
My star to you, Ludo, for providing uninteresting oppositions when I didn't expect there will be some. This definitely keeps us on our toes. And my start to my fellow players for this cool character scenes, meeting the remnant, and then having the decisive situation around Maxwell. It was very interesting because we wanted to talk to each other. Yeah, let's make some politics. Bang, case that it was really nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this session.
Scott?
Star for Alan for making an immediate impact on the fiction, especially in the Maxwell situation, as mentioned by Pavel. That was it was a pretty hilarious turn of the fiction, right on the right on a dime. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I thought so to Alan, the depiction of the hive and the Michaels and the decisive execution, the unexpected execution of Maxwell, that was highlights. But also the flow, I think we were all focused in Ludo. Also, thanks for the flow between the scenes and the zoom ins and zoom outs. I think it works. I think the more you play this game, the smoother it gets. So it needs some time to take off. So yeah.
Yeah, we want another 4 sessions actually, Ludo, with advance notice.
Yeah, I think.
Can I just say, it did make it that the characters are very well formed, so it's very easy to fit in. Actually.
Yeah, that was actually something that surprised me quite well. For the relatively simple characters, they are very well fully formed. And yeah, I have to give a big star for the pacing that we got. It was very clearly by this time that we have a very good sense of when we should zoom in and zoom out, and that created really deep sessions. This is probably the first session in which I saw no divide between the family and the characters, because there's always this awkward part in which you change gears. I think we finally got the right pacing for this connection, and I think we really developed the families a lot. And then that gave the opportunity for Alan to really shine, and with only one session to really introduce a fully fleshed family, a fully fleshed character, and even have a half decent arc. That was really satisfying for me to see. And everyone else just all around for how everyone was throwing at each other these hardballs and everyone was rolling with it. It was amazing to see. And already on the first scene, it really set up the tone of the session, because it created this high quality, high drama situation immediately. And we already knew the stakes at hand. So it was really a fabulous starter. And those are my big stars. Now, important wishes. How are we going to wrap up this? What do you want to happen at the end? So let's go back same order. Alan, you're not here, but you deserve to contribute.
Well, on recent on past events, there is a more than 50-50 chance I will be here, because the last 2 are places opened up. But I think there needs to be some kind of crescendo confrontation with the Zoomers, either to know what they are and know they're unbeatable, or to kind of put them in a box. Because I think that's where this seems to have been heading for me. So that's all I'd want to see as a viewer.
Pavel?
I would say that my wish is that we try to trigger at least some more of family moves, and I mean the specific family moves, because I'm really happy that we get the Dominion rolling. I would really like to see the family moves of the Hadik and the Sandstorm also triggering, because we completely forgot that the Sandstorm had this weird science, which we could definitely use the next session to do whatever.
I thought about it, at the end of the session now, that we could trigger this,
Yeah, we also have this wonderful medicine of the Sandstorm. Who knows, maybe it will come into use. So I guess that's my wish. I'm not sure how will the competition with boomers go, but I would like to test this game in this regard, how the specific family moves will work.
Scott?
I want to build a wonder.
Yeah.
I want to do the full age turn. So
Yeah, that will be a great way to finish it. So if anyone wants to build wonders, I think we should start with that next session.
Yeah. I want to remind folks, because we've been getting better at the zoom in, zoom out, but when you zoom in, you can tool up. There's a tool up move. Everybody should read that because it allows you to kind of use your surpluses. You don't use them, you don't burn them, but you gain a benefit from having them.
Yeah, I think I did not call attention to that this session. What we've been doing is that we assume that the tool up is happening while the scene, so that we don't lose too much point with that. So people can retroactively use that. So yeah, please remember that you can at any point just retroactively tool up because you have all these resources to spend.
Yeah. And then since we know we're zooming in at the beginning of next session, folks could already have that in mind. So I didn't realize it at all until today. I was like, what is this tool up? so cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have I think my travel plans changed, and I'm probably gonna miss the last session, which is kind of disappointing. I see there is someone else on the wait list who hasn't played. I don't know, Steven. I don't know who it is. So yeah, I would like to see. Yeah, the Wanderer sounds interesting, and some confrontation with the Zoomers, or well, if I were playing, yeah, have some justice or some kind of resolution with the Stormcrawlers. But yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I can about if I'm gonna.
Yeah, do you want to use your move now? Because I was thinking the beginning of next session.
Yeah, the weird. I would say that yeah, we are inserting something, and I don't know if it's a defensive barrier or if it's some attacking some weapon that you can use against the Zoomers or against the Stormcrawlers. Maybe some pulse. I guess some EMP pulse would be also bad for the hive, though.
I mean, a mega
retreating. The hive is retreating as well, so
a mega drill will be very satisfying to open next session.
Drill, yeah. So I mean, you also have permission to do it in the beginning of next session, or we can do it now. It's either way.
Do it now. Just it is the weird science or sufficiently advanced that you are using.
I think sufficiently advanced is always tied to my medicine. I think it would be a weird science move, but I'm open to suggestions on what kind of device would be useful for next session. It could be the drill, some kind of drill or some kind of device to control this carbon silicon organism and shape it to our will. Or a drill or some kind of offensive weapon. So when your family puts together a device powerful enough to shape the local area for generations, well, I just say what I want to do, and then there is not even a roll. So we just have to
fulfill conditions. So what do you want precisely?
Does any of the option that I laid out, is any of the options more inspiring to folks? Because I might not be there also next time.
I'm not sure. However, maybe making this like getting control over this organism that grows tunnel is interesting area. Not to, because I'm not sure. Have we already killed it? I'm kind of a little bit confused. I think we killed it. So maybe like retroactively creating this, but like having control over it, so that the Sandstorm can grow tunnels however they like. So not a drill, but just like a technology to grow tunnels.
Yeah, we could make the hive, the station masters took it apart, but in a form that allowed Sandstorm to use it. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that as well. So
so I will say you're gonna need, it has to recharge between uses. And you're going to need progress because you're going to be doing something that beats even science before the fall. So you're not going to need to put everything that you have. So you're going to have to give surplus progress.
So either engineering or...
No, progress.
Progress.
Yeah. And Yeah, and you need to hook up it to a certain power source. And the power source is a living Ornate, which is not going to be a problem now because it has all the energy of the dead storm crawlers, but you're gonna need to feed them. I think that fits very well with the mystic sacrifices of the Sandstorm.
Yep.
So you can have to feed stuff to the coral if you want to recharge.
I think it will demand higher sacrifices than before. So.
Mm-hmm.
And it will work only temporarily at the moment. Yeah, so I need to recharge for that. Okay, sounds good.
Well, it does not work temporarily. It works perfectly fine, but once the work is done, it needs to recharge. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you, Hal, for this. Have a nice Sunday. Is everyone okay with me putting this up? Okay. See you around.
Thanks, guys. I'll see some of you this time next week, I think, because I'm running a game at the point yours finishes. See you in all.
Bye.
Right.